I'm Danny, and today I'm here with a collective book haul. This is gonna be a long one. If you've seen the thumbnail, then you can see how many books I have. So let's skip all the talking and let's just get into this. Some of these are from Christmas, some are just books I've collected over that period of time or have been gifted over that period of time. So let's start with the unwrapped books and we'll make our way to the wrapped and box ones. First I have Halfway to the Grave and One Foot in the Grave by Janine Frost. This is book 1 and 2 in the Night Huntress series. This is about a kick-ass half vampire named Kat, and if you saw my last wrap up then you would have seen these two books in there, and I really love this series. I've finished the entire series and now I'm reading the spin-off series and I'm trying to collect this series. Next I have Eternal Kiss of Darkness by Janine Frost. This is book 2 in the Night Huntress World series. This is book 2 in the spin-off series from the Night Huntress series. This is about a vampire named Mancaries, and again, if you saw my last wrap up you would have seen that I love this book, and Mancaries is awesome and powerful and I just love it. So I'm collecting all the books in this series too. Next is Last of the Red Hot Vampires. This is book 5 in the Dark One series by Kate McAllister. These are books about vampires. These are a different sort of vampires. The world in this one is kind of complicated. If you are born of mated parents, then you are born with a soul. But if you are born with one of your parents, usually the male of the couple, having no soul, then you are also born with no soul, even if your parent gets their soul later on after you're born. I read these years ago. Actually, one of them is right here, and it's one of my favorites, though you can't see it on camera. And so I saw this in the my local used bookstore and I picked it up. No, actually I didn't buy this one. This one was given to me by, I think my grandmother gave this one to me. Next I have Bite Me If You Can by Lindsay Sands. This is book 6 in the Argeneu Vampire series. I've got a few of her books and I read these right after I started getting into reading. So about 16 or 17 is when I read these, and I've been wanting to get back into it, so I bought this one at my local used bookstore. Next I have All I Need by Sally Painter. This one was a gift for Christmas and it is a erotic vampire series. Danielle is celebrating her 30th birthday and she goes to a club and meets the Vampire King, and things start taking off from there, and something about her being his mate or him having to get married before midnight, otherwise he's going to die. Something like that. It sounded kind of interesting, so I kept it. And that's all I really know about it. Next I have Wonderland King of Hearts by Shinri McCrae. I'm sure I probably didn't pronounce that first name right, but this is kind of an erotic retelling of Alice in Wonderland. Next I have Radiant Darkness by Emily Whitman. This is another Hades and Persephone retelling. I've been on a kick with those lately, but I just love it. Every retelling I've read so far I've liked. And this is what if Persephone felt trapped in her mother's garden paradise place. She's trying to escape, and just before she does, she meets a dark and mysterious stranger who offers her something she's never known. Hint, hint, Hades. And so I saw this one. I haven't read one where Persephone's felt trapped. I've read ones where she's wanted to get out or has been planning to leave her mother, but never one where she's felt trapped and Hades comes before she gets to run away or whatever. So I'm looking forward to starting this one. I probably will hold off because I don't want to read all my Hades and Persephone books in one go, so I'm probably going to take a break from those for a while. And my last unpackaged book, I'm not sure if I've hauled this one. I think I might have, but I'm not completely sure, so if I have, then just completely ignore this one. But it is Seeds Volume 1 by M.M. Kin. This is another Hades and Persephone retelling, and this one is, instead of Persephone being kept in a garden like the traditional stories, what if Persephone's mother whisked her off to a island in the middle of nowhere where she had no contact with anyone but her mother and her 2 female cousins, and Hades of course has been admiring her for quite some time, and instead of him offering her the opportunity to leave or them having known each other before like in other stories, this one he just kidnaps her. So this is what if Hades truly had kidnapped Persephone and what happens after that. Okay, now to the packaged books. Next is The Burning Sky by Sherry Thomas. This is the first book in the Elementals trilogy. I've heard about this one for a while. I've seen a few people review it and it sounds pretty good, and I've been wanting to get into elementals, people who have powers to control different elements, and so this one sounded pretty good. And it says, she is the greatest elemental mage in her generation, or so she's been told. One prophesies for years, the savior of the realm. It is her duty and destiny to face and defeat the Bane, the most powerful tyrant mage the world has ever known. And it sounds pretty good, and I'm looking forward to it. Next, I have another box from Amazon. Next is Gemina, the second book in the Illuminate files. I believe this is part of a trilogy, and it's bigger than the last one. I expected it to be about the same size, maybe smaller, but it's actually bigger than the last one. So I really hesitated getting into Illuminate last year, and I ended up really liking it, and so I decided to immediately, well, I didn't immediately pick up. This one's been out for a few months, and so when I saw it online and it was on sale, I decided to pick it up. Next, another box from Amazon. Okay, first, this is a series I've been hearing. I've heard a lot about. Everyone seems to love it, and I've already been spoiled for the ships in this series. I'm not sure who she ends up with, but I've been already warned about one of the ships, and so I know not to put my heart too far into that one. And that is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the Grisha trilogy. This is about a girl named Alina Starkov, I think how you pronounce her last name. And one night when her village or town is attacked, she unleashes this power that she had no idea she had, and then she is taken to the capital, I think it's called, and she is entered into the Grisha army to learn her powers and to be a soldier, I guess. And so I've heard a lot about it, and I decided to pick it up because it was on sale. Next, I have Winter Song by S. Jen Jones. This is a retelling of the Goblin King. I've never actually heard the Goblin King story, but I'm looking forward to getting into it and kind of seeing what it's about. But from the description, it kind of sounds like the movie The Labyrinth from back in the 80s, I think it is. It is about a girl named Liesel who has always loved fairy tales, but after a certain point in her life, she knows it's time to grow up. And when her sister is taken by the Goblin King, she goes after her to try and rescue her sister, and the Goblin King gives her an ultimatum. A life for a life. If you stay, your sister can go. And that's why it reminds me of The Labyrinth right there. She goes after her sister, she meets the Goblin King, although in the end of The Labyrinth, she didn't actually end up staying. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one's going to end, and I've heard it's really good.